I'm calling the president. President, we need a National Guard. We need as many men as you can spare because we are killing the Patriots. So call the dogs off. Send the National Guard, please. They need emergency help. Please help these folks. They're coming. Help is on the way.
There once was a time not too long ago when the Denver Broncos were one of the most feared franchises in all of football. When Mile High wasn't just a stadium, it was a fortress. When names like Elway, Davis, and Sharp defined Sundays. Back-to-back Super Bowl titles in 1997 and 98 put Denver at the pinnacle of football. It was a dynasty moment. Mike Shanahan was the architect, John Elway was the general, Terrell Davis was the sledgehammer, and Shannon Sharp was the soul. But Denver's story didn't start here. It started back in 1977, when the Orange Crush defense took the league by storm, delivering the franchise its first Super Bowl appearance and uniting a city in a way that sports rarely do. And in 2015, the Broncos reminded the world that they still had championship DNA. Peyton Manning, battered and aging, made one final stand. Backed by a savage defense led by Von Miller, the Broncos won Super Bowl 50. But after Manning walked away, everything unraveled. From 2016 to 2022, Denver became a revolving door of disappointment. 4 head coaches, 14 starting quarterbacks, and no playoff wins. The team that once set the standard for toughness and excellence couldn't even find a way to finish above 500. Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, Case Keenum, Joe Flacco, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, and Russell Wilson, the list kept growing, and the results kept sinking. The once mighty Broncos finished with 7 consecutive losing seasons. And when they weren't losing, they were embarrassing themselves. A team that used to beat you into submission couldn't get out of its own way. And then came 2022, the Nathaniel Hackett experiment. One of the most dysfunctional seasons in franchise history. Questionable play calling, poor game management, and a locker room that looked like it had no faith. The Russell Wilson trade, once seen as a franchise-saving move, backfired spectacularly. Wilson struggled, the offense looked broken, and Hackett didn't last the full season. Denver had officially bottomed out. But in early 2023, the Broncos made a move that changed everything. They hired head coach Sean Payton, a Super Bowl winning head coach. The man who had turned the New Orleans Saints, one of the league's most irrelevant franchises, into an offensive powerhouse. Payton's resume was undeniable. 15 years as head coach, 9 playoff appearances, 7 NFC South titles, 152 regular season wins, and 1 Super Bowl championship. Payton brought discipline, structure, and most of all, belief. The 2023 season didn't start the way anyone had hoped. The Broncos opened up 1-5. They got humiliated by the Miami Dolphins in Week 3, losing 70-20, the kind of scoreline that you only see in video games. And at that moment, most teams would collapse. But Sean Payton's Broncos responded. The defense, torched early in the year, flipped the switch. And over the next 10 games, they became one of the NFL's most improved units. With a revitalized pass rush and standout play from stars like Patrick Surtain, Denver rattled off 5 straight wins and clawed their way back into playoff contention. They ultimately finished the season 8-9 and missed the playoffs, but the Broncos were clearly trending upward under Sean Payton's leadership. Then came the boldest move of all. The Broncos cut ties with Russell Wilson, swallowing an NFL record $85 million in dead cap for 2024. Luckily for Denver, they had a top 15 pick in one of the deepest quarterback draft classes in almost a decade, and in 2024, the Broncos drafted Bo Nix. The now second-year quarterback capped off his college career by winning the 2023 William V. Campbell Trophy, known as the Academic Heisman, highlighting both his brain as well as his brawn. He led the nation with the NCAA record 77% completion rate and was named the Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year after throwing for over 4,500 yards and 45 touchdowns. Nix also set the all-time NCAA record with 61 career starts at quarterback and finished 3rd in Heisman Trophy voting, and under Sean Payton's guidance, he got better every week, earning the trust of his teammates and proving that he was more than just a bridge quarterback. He is the future. On the other side of the football, the Denver Broncos defense led the league in sacks with 63 of them and allowed just 18 points per game down the stretch. And it wasn't just Pat Surtain making plays. Linebacker Baron Browning also became a force in the pass rush, and safety Caden Stearns made plays all over the field. The entire unit played with conviction. The 2024 Broncos finished the regular season with a 10-7 record. It was their first winning season in almost a decade and their first playoff appearance since the loss of Peyton Manning. And analysts across the league have taken notice. ESPN, NFL Network, Sports Illustrated, they've all run stories on Denver's transformation. With a top 5 defense, a rising franchise quarterback, and a future Hall of Fame coach pulling the strings, Denver enters the 2025 season as legitimate contenders. Sean Payton and general manager George Paton attacked this offseason with purpose. And their goal this offseason was clear: to have the best defense in the NFL. Denver signed both Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw from the San Francisco 49ers. And during the 2025 draft, they used their 20th overall first-round pick to select corner Jahdae Barron out of Texas. They also drafted Savion Jones, a pass rusher from LSU. Offensively, the Broncos signed tight end Evan Ingram, giving Knicks a reliable safety blanket in the middle of the field. And they signed running back RJ Harvey to replace Javonte Williams. Last year, the Denver Broncos squeaked into the playoffs, but this year, they're determined to prove that 2024 wasn't a fluke. For nearly a decade, the Broncos were stuck in the past, chasing ghosts of Elway and Manning and hoping to stumble back into greatness. But those days are over. This team isn't chasing anything. They're building something, and what's happening in Denver looks like greatness in the making. The rise of the Denver Broncos has officially begun.